Okay, let's do a little bit more of this. I think I got the sound figured out, hopefully.
Later today, and I encourage you to please look at the slides because the upgrades here, the changes that Karen and her team and the contractors have made are very impressive. Also, we will follow up to Director Edwards and Director Lewis's questions about productivity and attendance and community feedback. So we'll come back to you and provide that information. And Director Kim, thank you for following up with us about smart energy decisions, also about the value of accountability and improving the environment. So really appreciate those points that's made there. Just want to...
They can improve your environment, but they can't improve your bus service. And I'm never going to let this topic go, that they have all this other shit they're doing, and they're succeeding in doing all this other shit, but they can't provide you with reliable, safe, and efficient bus service.
Say a hearty congratulations to our facilities maintenance team and our partners. Thank you for going the extra mile here on this project here. Well done, but keep pushing until completion. Thank you.
Yeah, pushing.
All right, I would like to move forward and update you on our exciting electric bus testing that's going on. So Young Park, who is our manager.
And here we have another thing that they're doing that doesn't help anybody in the real world. I mean, they have all this list of things they're doing, this big giant list of all these projects they got going. And none of them actually are helping the riders now. Nothing helps riders now.
Bus electrification is here with us. So Young, our fleet of electric buses have grown since your last presentation to the bus.
And this is another fad. You know, everybody's in favor of electric buses, but it's not going to change the atmosphere, okay? It's not going to actually do that. This is just another version of a pork barrel, actually. They're buying these buses because under the guise of green energy, trying to be green, but it's such a small amount of energy that it's not going to make any difference to anything. But yet, this is the big advertising gimmick. You see it at all the transit agencies around the country are all going electric, and we know from our own experience that these electric buses are not reliable in this country. The Chinese have seemed to figure it out, but the Americans have not. Why that is, I have no idea.
To the board here. Give us an update.
Thank you. Good morning, fellow manager, President Simmons, members of the board. Pleasure to be back and share with you our updates and progress and our roadmap towards a zero emissions bus fleet. Since we last met, next slide please. I want to start with first off our new fire buses, a fleet of 5 short-range buses that have been up and running since basically 2019. When we started this program, we were the industry leaders in preparing a short-range bus with a very quick fast charger. And as you can see from this bar,
shish boom by, you were the industry leaders in bells and whistles.
We've definitely have had a number of ups and downs. But we are tenacious and gracious and have worked with our OEMs to...
Here's Ozzy. He has been engaging us on Twitter, which just shocks me that any person involved with the management of this company would engage us, especially me. They've been ignoring me for years. And he's been pretty good at Twitter, too. He can dish it out and he can take it. So I'll give him credit, man. You're and I said this on my podcast, I'm pretty sure he's the smartest guy of this whole bunch in terms of IQ. I think it's pretty obvious the man is pretty goddamn smart. Not only is he fluent in 2 languages, which right there means you have a higher IQ if you can do that just on that basis, but if you watch his tweets, okay, and I evaluate. He thinks these things out. He's not just He's not just rambling out a bunch of nonsense. He's cutting his social media teeth on us, I think. It's interesting to listen to him. He's pretty impressive, all things considered. I liked Ozzy because of the way he treated Eli. Some of you might remember that I sent Eli Ritchie in to cover a board meeting once. And Ozzy actually went up to him and chatted with him a lot. A whole big long chat. And I listened to it because I listened to the whole file. And I was impressed how he handled Eli, which is why I liked him in the beginning. And now that he actually has the guts to get on social media, that's two pluses in my eyes in terms of who he is. Even though we don't agree, and he's part of the establishment, which is the problem here. But I know he can't, one man can't change a juggernaut. All of these things are going in a direction that's pretty much unchangeable. No individual can change it. And the whole society is barreling in this direction, which is going to lead to mass disaster. I'm convinced totally that we are so fucked. He can't change any of that, and neither can Dessous, none of us here. It's just the way it's going to be. If you start going against the agenda, you're out, man. They'll ban you. I mean, you can see, like, even if you're trying to discuss the current so-called cerveza crisis, it's you get banned immediately if you don't support the agenda. So we see what's going on right in front of our eyes. We are 100% in a totalitarian society now, and it's scary. And I'm almost 70, so I'm not really caring anymore about it. I mean, I hate to see what's happening, but there's really not much. What do I care anymore? What's ahead of you when you get 70? It's just pretty much over. I can't travel because of all the travel restrictions. I was going to come back to Oregon and get a place there, but that's out now. So, I mean, the world is over. One of the lucky ones, I have a comfortable place to live and enough money to keep it going for a little while anyway. So I'm one of the lucky ones because, as anybody who's listened to the scanner knows, it's hell for so many people out here, and nobody cares about them. They're abandoned by society. It's just a horrible thing to understand, because what you understand is that you're living in hell, because a society that abandons the helpless is hell, and this is where we live.
Patch these buses up, extend the warranties, and get these buses back on the road. I'm pleased to share with you the progress that back in a few months ago in May of 2021, we were able to achieve a 95% pull-out rate. That was one of the highest rates that we've been able to do, and continue to get. And
I have noticed less calls about this. There has. I cannot say that I've heard less calls, and I've seen less calls on the scanner about the electric bus. They're still coming in, but it's not like it used to be. Like every day you'd hear these electric buses screwing up. I'm not seeing that anymore. It's not every day. It seems like they screw up every few days, but not every day, all day. You hear a whole bunch of these calls every day.
And exceed that benchmark when these buses are out. Currently today, we actually have one bus that's still down with some technical difficulties. But we are hearing from the industry that this is really no different. And we are also continuing to...
This is a society that can send a rocket ship to Mars and get within a mile and take photographs and send it back, but they can't make an electric bus that works. That doesn't make sense. What's wrong with that picture? Why can they make spaceships that go to goddamn Pluto, but they can't make an electric bus? It does not compute.
Grow as we mature. We're now beginning in our year 3 of this program. I also have some exciting news on our evolution towards next chapter of our testing. Next slide, please. we have received 5 Gillig electric buses. And these are a little different from that first test. These are long-range platforms. And you can see from the aerial here that the battery packs are on top of the roof, as well as inside where the engine compartment is, and as well as under the bus. We have a total of 444 kilowatts of batteries, so about 2.5 times the batteries of the short-range buses. We have been doing very, very rigorous testing. You may have seen some of this on the road, because we are putting test buses out on the line 20, a route. Sorry, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That goes from Gresham to Beaverton, we are getting ready to deploy our first bus beginning in October, with other buses that will be forthcoming. A lot of team effort. We are obviously fine-tuning our trainers, our operators. This is going to be a little different for us because we don't have the ability to stop and recharge. These buses, when they're deployed in the beginning of the day, will be out all day and then coming back. And our benchmark that we set for all of our OEMs is that we want to get these buses on the road for a minimum of 150 miles in a day. And that's not a nice summer day, but that's a cold winter day. That's going up the hills of the west side, about a 7% grade for about 1.5 miles. So we are truly testing these buses in that benchmark and ensuring that they work before we spend resources to expand our network. I also have another wonderful update. Next slide, please. We have been working with an OEM in Riverside on an industry-leading effort towards using a diesel bus and retrofitting it with electricity and electric power. So this has been nicknamed the Desert Rose because this shell of a bus was purchased from Phoenix and it will be rebranded for electrification and coming to the City of Roses.
I remember when they put this in front of the board, it was like $200,000 cheaper than an electric bus. I think that's what it didn't save a hell of a lot of money. I think these electric buses are like twice as expensive as a regular diesel bus. And this was a little bit, I remember I compared the cost, and it was a little bit cheaper than buying a brand new electric bus. Not that much cheaper.
We are almost ready. For the past year, have really gone through the rigorous testing of making sure these buses work. They charge. They have over 600 kilowatts of battery packs here. Also, a partnership with VoIP, who is our transmission provider. They are actually providing the electric propulsion here. This bus is being ready to be shipped here to Portland by the end of this month. And once it arrives, we will once again be doing some very rigorous testing and making sure that it's ready for revenue service. Our initial framework for how this is deployed is to use our roller garage, where we have a network of plug-in chargers. A little later today, you'll hear about our progress being made at Power Garage. We'll be installing more chargers. And as those come online, these long-range platforms will migrate to Power Garage with more buses that are in our horizon. So that's a quick update of where things are, and definitely welcome any questions that you may have.
Are there any questions from the board? This is Lori. I do have a question. You mentioned with the first 5 buses, the New Flyer buses, I know there was some, as your chart showed, some experiences where those buses were out of service. And you mentioned that the manufacturer is extending the warranty while you're continuing to work on the reliability issues. Have you gotten signals from the manufacturer that the warranty will be, that they'll continue to stand behind and work on the reliability of this equipment in the future?
yes, we have, and we have built in writing from them. Obviously, the OEMs have grown and have really used Trimet as sort of the research and development. We want to work with them, but also understand that we also need warranties to have them continue to back us as things break. And we have seen some things break, and as you can see from the bars, a number of things that have broken over the times. That extension of those warranties continue. We're grateful for the OEMs to continue to work with us as a partner.
What has been the experience with some of this extreme weather that we've had, the hot weather this summer and then some of the cold weather last February? How's that impacted operations or performance?
In the extreme heat is a negligible difference with these new power buses. ACs actually are very efficient, and even in the hottest days over the summer, we just saw a slight tick in our overall performance, and what we use is the bar of kilowatt hours that are consumed on a mile basis. And what we've seen is that our mild months, we average about 1.8, and then in the cold winter months, we average about 2.2. And that's sort of the benchmark that's sort of within the Pacific Northwest. What we're seeing here is that obviously we have a corrected measure with these new fire buses. We could always come back to Sunset Transit Center and recharge. And we know that going forward with these long-range platforms, those thresholds and changes in the season will definitely be a detriment as well as a potential indicator for us to understand exactly how far can we stretch this bus, knowing that the technology on these batteries will also and have continued to evolve. They're adding more dense batteries that are lighter on these electric buses. And I think over time we're going to see 250 miles and even 300 miles in these range buses. And that's going to be able to get us to deploy these in even our longer blocks of service.
I had one last question on those longer range batteries. How long do they take to charge? How long are the buses out of commission?
So we are charging overnight. Our chargers that are deployed for plug-in charging is at currently 150 kilowatts of power. So in the case of the electric Gilix, we have about 360 kilowatts that are usable. There's always 20% that's reserved. And just simple math here, right? So you're looking at about 2.5 hours to recharge those batteries to full. And so that they'll be unplugged and ready for the next day's service. Obviously, as battery packs extend, in the case of this articulated bus, that's 600 kilowatts, now you're looking at probably about 4 hours to really recharge that. Evening hours is where we have excess wind energy and low power consumption. So we're able to utilize non-peak hours to recharge these batteries and be cost effective.
Okay, that's all good.
Well, that's all very nice. Yada, yada,
Director Edwards?
Thank you. Are you able to utilize other renewable resources for power consumption for the buses when they're as well? Such as solar?
Solar.
So there are other examples out in the industry where they have, in the case of really other transit systems, and they are putting solar panels, using that to store batteries and then use those battery parts to charge the buses. We feel that as we expand our network of charging stations, especially at Paul Garage, we're looking at a next evolution, looking into pantographs that will come down and charge the buses in the evenings. That's going to have a structural integrity in that yard, so that in the future we could even put photovoltaic panels on top of that and make it truly renewable.
Great. Thank you very much.
Are there any other questions?
I had a quick comment. It's not so much a question.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the
Ozzy baby!
first of all. And great information on the whole. I like to see the evolution of our decarbonization plan, and I like to see all these newer technologies evolving, frankly. It's exciting to hear the potential for solar panels on top of buildings down the road. I'd like to point out the precedent that we set with our utility partners, PGE, in helping us with some of those charging stations. And our first rollout is a template, a framework that we can utilize perhaps in the building stages when we have those charging facilities in our operations yards, where we have capital infrastructure that could be complemented with a solar panel installation or some other renewable energy infrastructure component. Those are great opportunities for our utility partners to be part of that equation and help us kind of bring those other pieces forward. So I think we have all the right moving parts going in the right direction with this. And I'm really proud, first of all, of you and Trimet as an agency.
Oh, Ozzy, don't start the cheerleader.
To be a research and development partner. I hate to, I don't want to say guinea pig as that we're being experimented on, but I say a partner because we are a willing part of this experiment, and we're providing really valuable real world.
This is all very nice, but I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to keep saying it over and over and over. This shit is just bells and whistles. You got to get your service back to 100%, and you got to get this goddamn transit system running. This stuff here is secondary. Okay?
Data, frankly, to these manufacturing partners. So I'm glad to see that they're standing behind it and that we're learning together. I hope to see this continue.
Great, thank you.
Okay, if there are no other questions, I'll move it back to you, General Manager.
There's not any point to have electric buses if you can't run your transit system properly, okay?
Okay.
Thanks, President Simmons. Just want to tell the board, thank you for your questions here. Great points there. Want to thank Young also, his dedication and commitment to really ensuring bus electrification at Trimet.
Here we go.
There are others that I want to thank too. Steve Witter and his group. That's
more congratulations.
Bus maintenance team. Just keep up the great work. Thank you very much.
This never ends with the self-compliments.
So President Simmons and board, now we'll transition from upgrades to Trimet properties, I should say, to developing new properties that support transit use and climate action, as well as improve livability of our region. So our TOD team, or Transit-Oriented Development Team, joins us.
See, look, if you look. So now we're back to this, property development. I mean, I forgot about this pork barrel. All of these things they're doing, the Hollywood Hub, the Columbia new bus garage, the POW remodel, the Division project, the fucking Better Red. I mean, God almighty, can't you see this is a property development agency with a light rail mafia wing? All of this stuff they're doing doesn't help anybody, and the buses are not at 100%, and they don't have enough drivers, but all of this shit is still going, and if this doesn't piss you off, I don't understand what will, because this is an insult to all of us, that they're going, all of this shit going on as if nothing's happening at the same time as their transit system is a joke. Okay, it's not efficient. Runs are canceled, okay? That's not to be accepted as a normal state of affairs. You know, if you're leaving people, I don't even care if it's just one person being left behind. You are not functioning transit agency if you can't cover your runs.
Director Lance Ertz, program managers got.
See, I told you, Rippy, that Hollywood was closed. They put it off because that's standard operating procedure for government. You know, they pretend they're listening. Well, we won't make the decision. I told you this was going forward. Hollywood is gone. against the objections of all the people that are using Hollywood. They're just going to steamroll right over the citizens who need that transit center and put in this goddamn fucking property developers bullshit.
And Fiona Kundi will provide an update on the Hollywood Hub development. Good morning, team, and I'll just turn the floor over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Seth. Good morning. I'm Lance Thurs. I'm the Director of Real Estate and Transit Development at Trimet. And like Sam said, joining me today are Guy Ben and Fiona Lyon, Trimet's TOD Program Managers. And we're going to be providing you an update on the status of Trimet's Transit-Oriented Development Project at the Hollywood Transit Center. And each of us will be discussing some different aspects of the project. If we could move up to the next slide, that would be great. Thank you.
See, now
so this is basically
they always have
an agenda.
Equity. They throw in their word equity. There's no equity at all in any of this. It's insulting. The whole thing is insulting to me. It's insulting.
But the main thing I wanted everyone to see on this slide was the graphic showing exactly where the Hollywood Transit Center is. I assume most people know, but I just wanted to be sure. So we were working on an affordable housing transit-oriented development project with our partner, an affordable housing developer named Bridge Housing. And we're working to bring 200 units of affordable housing and significant infrastructure improvements to the Hollywood Transit Center.
Yeah, this is the goddamn Agenda 21 where they stack and pack you. See, they got the train. Now they're going to pack you into these apartments. This is not the role of a transit agency to be involved with any of this, but here we are.
Which is a transit center that opened in 1986 with our first light rail line.
Yeah, like it's been there forever.
So now I'll turn it over to Guy Ben, and he'll walk us through the first few slides.
Thank you, Lance, and good morning, Board President, Board Directors. Can we move to the next slide, please?
Have you noticed that the entire staff is like not white men anymore? It's actually hilarious. Is that the? I guess this guy's a white guy, but he's not even from the country, apparently. I mean, there's no. It's like they've gone over the deep end with their woke culture shit. It's over the deep end now.
So I'm, as Lance and the General Manager mentioned, my name is Guy Ben. I'm the Program Manager for Transit Development. I'm quickly going to run through or refresh the board on the scope of the Hollywood Transit Center redevelopment project, and then I'm going to pass it back to Lance and Fiona, who are going to dig in more detail and discuss equity and design elements of the project. This slide in front of you is for orientation. We wanted to highlight 5 key elements here. Firstly, number 1, which is located sort of centrally to the top of the photo, that is a 1986 substation that is now reaching the end of its useful life and requires replacement. Item number 2 is the existing ramp and stair structure. It has the temporary memorial to the events of May 2017. The design of that structure is now outdated, and we're looking to upgrade and replace that structure.
What?
Number 3 is the portion of Northeast 42nd Avenue that links between Hollywood and the I-84 pedestrian bridge, which is shown at the top of the photograph. That bridge connects to our MAX station and to the Laurelhurst neighborhood to the south. Number 4 is the intersection of Northeast 42nd and Housley Street. That is an accident black spot, and our project proposes a redesign and reconfiguration of that junction to improve pedestrian and bike safety as well as traffic flow along Housley Street. And finally, number 5, which is not labeled, but that's really we wanted to highlight the absence of a permanent restroom at the Hollywood Transit Center. There is, as you can see in this picture, it's a little small, but there is a porta potty that has been on the site for a number of years now. Unfortunately, there are regular incidences of vandalism with that, and our project looks to provide
Yeah, Portland doesn't provide you bathrooms in their transit because they're so progressive.
A permanent and more agreeable solution to that. Next slide, please.
Next slide, please.
We can go to the next slide, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hurry up, move your fucking head.
Great. So
See, look at this. See, this is it. So some developer is getting a whole bunch of money to build this fucking thing. You know, it just disgusts me. I said that in the debate with Ozzy. We've been doing Twitter. This world is now a world for the elites. They're running the show, and all the rest of us are just being ignored completely. They're going about doing all of this stuff that's really not helping anybody in the short term. This doesn't help anybody for now. I mean, it's only 200. You got thousands of people on the streets. And who knows what the so-called word affordable, who knows what that means? They use that word in everything now, but it doesn't mean anything, okay, because there's all kinds of means testing and stuff going on here. This is to make profit, okay? This is a profit-making venture. This is using your transit system so some private developer can make money, okay? This has got nothing to do with transit. We shouldn't be involved in it at all, but here we are.
Is a rendering of the future vision for the transit centre. And very quickly, the first item to sort of obviously you'll notice is a rendering of a 13-story building on the south and west side of the transit centre site. This building is a fully affordable rental housing project that's going to deliver 200 units of affordable housing. It's going to be developed by our project partner, which is a group called Bridge Housing, and we'll be happy to share more information to any members of the board that would like, that haven't previously been party to these discussions to understand more about that group. The affordability is at 60% or less of the area median income, and the building will be fully air conditioned. The second item that we'd like to highlight is the ramp and stair structure. I identified the existing structure today. Later in this presentation, Fiona will show you some of the design elements and iterations that we've been looking at and researching and analysing and engaging with stakeholders to sort of find the best solution for its replacement and upgrade. That structure will incorporate the new substation, which we mentioned on the previous slide. You'll also see from this rendering, there's going to be a substantial amount of new public amenity space, including a new paseo linking Hollywood with the MAX station and the I-84 pedestrian bridge, a new courtyard, and also
what the fuck is this shit, man? What are we doing here?
Two sites. Now, initially, that site is going to be used for staging. It is then ultimately going to sort of provide public amenity in the short term, being used by a community-based organisation who will probably hold public events on it. And then long term, we expect some active retail or community space on the ground floor of the Phase 2 development. The final point to note from this slide is that to enable this project to move forward, Trimet will be moving the bus services from their current location, which is sort of closer to the I-84, to in-street locations on Halsey Street. And those are shown at the base of the sort of rendering here, with a sort of a bulb in bay that will bring the buses out of the traffic on Halsey Street, and it's about 150 feet from their current location. That distance, we aim to mitigate it by improving the ramp design and the public experience between, if you were connecting between the MAX station and the bus services. I think it's also worth noting that by moving those bus services, we are moving them closer to downtown Hollywood and the retail and leisure amenities that exist there. Next slide, please. This is the final slide for me before I pass it back to Lance, who will talk more about equity elements. But and I won't go into detail. This is a sort of text summary of what you saw on the last slide. There are sort of some key elements. There's obviously the affordable housing building, which is a bridge project, and Bridge will be leading. They've recently gone for funding from the City of Portland with Metro Affordable Housing boondoggle. They applied in July and expect to have an answer, hopefully that funding has been awarded in October this year. The key Trimet elements are what we call the essential infrastructure. It's the new light rail substation, new bus facilities, pedestrian ramps and stairs, a bike hub and operation.
So this guy's making six figures doing whatever the hell he's doing. You know, this is a criminal operation, folks. They're doing everything that people don't need. This is special interest shit. This is developer shit. This is shit they shouldn't be involved with at all.
A restroom as well as the courtyard and Stair and other community spaces. It would be a myth.
What is this? 201 unit family-oriented affordable units and a flagship. What is this shit? New right. What is this crap, man? Permanent. Oh my god. Oh, unencumbered quarter block phase 2 with 100,000 gross square foot of development, right? See, huge money is going to be made here, which is the real purpose, to make money for the elites. Okay, that's what the purpose is. Sorry, it's got nothing to do with actual people. Sorry, wake up. These people up here are all agents of the elites. They are elites.
We will be delivering, the project will deliver a new permanent memorial to the May 2017 event. The form and shape and sort of execution of that memorial is being conducted and will be there will be a separate outreach and separate committee that will conduct that. And finally, the last point is this quarter block parcel for future development, which will, as I said, include active ground floor retail space. So that's the project in summary. I'm now going to pass it back to Lance, who will talk about the goals that we have reached with the development.
Yeah, thanks, Guy. Can I get the next slide, please? Thank you. So, as an affordable housing developer, Bridge shares our objective of maximizing DBE and MWESB contracting opportunities. And you can see some of them on this slide. First, I would like to note that this is a prevailing wage project, which is very important. And then I'd like to say that we've been working with Trimet's diversity and transit equity team on contracting goals, and we are still negotiating the final goals with Bridge. That Bridge will pass through to its contractor. But we do feel comfortable saying that the minimum goals are what is shown on the screen for both contracting goals and apprenticeship and journey requirements. We're also negotiating a specific goal with Bridge for DBE and MBE contractors.
What is this shit?
From the broader MWESB
this is
DV goal.
This is what Pootie's talking about. They give out contracts now based on race. I don't know when this started, but it was supposed to be a blind. This is supposed to be a blind process. Race is not supposed to take any part of this process, but they've changed that now, where they actually contract based on race, which is like illegal, or it used to be.
Mouthful. Finally, Bridge will report disaggregated data and certified payroll reports to Trimet for tracking purposes. And I'm going to pass it over to Fiona to talk a little bit about some more equity goals as well as the ramp and stair structure.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. So this project is a great opportunity to really show Trimet's investment in social benefits, both for future residents as well as the community at large. In addition to the creation of that permanent housing, we'll ensure that this project is built by and marketed to key populations of our community. To address the many climate, heat, air quality concerns that we have ahead of us as a region, I'd like to highlight that this building is fully air conditioned and really truly sits within a neighborhood context that provides great access to both transit and local amenities. In addition to 3 bus lines and 3 max lines, future residents will enjoy a local walk score and bike score of 95, which is pretty impressive.
Oh, yippee! White, that's white people type statistics there. Walk score, bike score. See, they talk about serving low-income people, but then on the next sentence they talk about bike score, watch score, which is white people. Okay, that's like elite white people look at that shit.
It is also a landmark project to really provide a front door and sort of living room to the Hollywood neighborhood.
Yeah.
Specifically through the public paseo, which we plan to activate through programmed events
Can you believe
and a
what we're
permanent
watching?
memorial to the brave individuals who lost their lives in
The
2017.
brave individuals that lost their lives due to Trimet incompetence and police incompetence. The police had the chance to arrest that guy on the day before he murdered them, and they let him go because he was white. And we already know the Portland police support the Proud Boys. We already know that. Okay, we already know that. That's the truth.
Next slide, please.
Such liars and cheats.
So zooming in more
What is
closely
this
on this
stupid
community
shit?
connector element.
I can't watch any more of this today. It's just, I'm getting aggravated. And once I start getting aggravated, I have to turn it off. I'm sorry, I just can't do it.